sometimes we don't win. Don't give us a bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show, Bed River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome in, everyone, to Betting Weekly Live. It's a brand new week, Monday, the 15th of December. You're with Steve Wyss, and Lewis Jones is alongside me. How's it going, Lewis? Have you had a good weekend?
Yes, hi, Steve. Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here, as always. Good weekend. Very, very hectic weekend. Was fortunately an illness has struck the Jones family. So my wife was out for the count this weekend when it's a busy Premier League weekend for me. So I had to sort of juggle that and also work as well, which is, as I'm sure as a fellow parent, Steve, you can understand when that happens. It's an absolute nightmare around the Christmas times. Yeah, it was a very busy weekend trying to get everything done and punting away and tipping for my private service and things like that. But we managed to get everything in good order and found some winners. So came out ahead. So that was a good sign. And just been Christmas shopping today with the little. I had my 2-year-old today, and we had to go buy a bike for my 5-year-old. So one thing I didn't realise when we're going to pick up the bike is now the 2-year-old is obviously being able to speak now. So he's very intrigued about who this bike is for. And now I'm worried he's going to tell the 5-year-old that he's got the bike. So I'm in a bit of bother with that. I might have had a bit of a severe own goal there in terms of his Christmas present. He might break the news to him earlier than he should. But yeah, these are all the problems we have with parenting when we're trying to juggle everything. But yeah, it's been a hectic week, but I'm in good form. Looking forward to the card today. All good with you? Many winners this weekend?
Do you know what? I was off the boil actually a bit this weekend. I didn't get a lot right, but I was quite pleased with myself because I avoided huge losses. I feel like it could have been a lot worse. I'll talk about some of the teams that and handicaps in a minute. But I'm doing all right. I mean, I was ill last week, as many of you will know. Managed to grind through the Betting Weekly Live stuff. Had a really good gym session on Saturday. Sauna as well. Sweated it all out of me, and I'm ready and raring to go now, Lewis. So yeah, what I was going to say was welcoming everyone, obviously. How did your weekend go? And I'm seeing a lot of comments, sort of, ups and downs. Good to see Ming Chung, Duncan, Byron, Aaron Blake. Good to see you, Tribe of Glad as well. Roller coaster of a weekend, I think, kind of sums it up in a lot of ways. Real Brandon King, Umbrello Charles, Steve from Lynn, Peter Chalkins. As for Bayern, absolutely ridiculous. Wilfred Songo has got a bet for the United game. We'll talk about that later. Half-time, full-time, and over 2.5 for him. Mindy Pirar. We've got... who else have we got? A guy called A is in chat as well. Someone said that the NFL saved them, and it saved me a bit yesterday. The LA Rams have been doing really well the last 2 weeks. There is especially a running back called Blake Corum. His line is always far too low for what it should be. But anyway, biggest bet on the weekend on the sportsbook was the Rams. -5.5 against the Lions. It was a winner, $60,000 play. 50,000 on the Navy, -5.5 against the Army. That was a loser, sadly. Big touchdown play in the Bears game. Kyle Monangui, anytime touchdown scorer, +143 for the Bears. He's been on fire recently, but that was a loser. He didn't cash this weekend in the touchdown market. I think DeAndre Swift nicked one off him. Biggest bet on the soccer field, on the soccer bets with Bet Rivers this weekend. Chelsea to score in the first half against Everton, $61,000, 600, and that was a winner. Same bet, 60 grand on Tottenham to score in the first half against Forest, and that lost. That was a plus money bet. But didn't even score in the game, did they? Quite a lot of first half bets, actually. Same bet for the Fulham game against Burnley, $40,000, and that won. So, it was a funny old weekend on the soccer field, Lewis, because I've got some notes down here from all the league leaders in the main leagues failed to cover their Asian handicap line. Napoli actually lost. They were odds on at Udinese. They lost the game. Barcelona were -2 and 2.25 against Osasuna. They only won 2-0. Arsenal, of course, were a -2.25 goal favourite. They nearly didn't even win the game. Bayern were -3 against Mainz and drew 2-2. And PSG were -2 against Metz and only won 3-2. So, obviously the actual parlay there was let down by Bayern, but I think a lot of people weren't just betting on money line, Lewis. It was even 1.5. I don't really understand. I'm a bit surprised what I've seen this weekend. I can't really put an explanation to it because some of these minnows, the lower rank sides, actually play quite well, which I'm trying to work out how it happened. But I got stung by Bayern badly. I got stung by Arsenal as well, to be honest. I thought they would rack up a big score.
Yeah, I think a lot of people got. You're right, Steve. I don't want to be Johnny after time or after the situation here, but when I was on with Dan Roebuck, was it last Monday? I think it might have been last Monday. A theory that I've got over this period of the Christmas fixtures, especially for these 2 game weeks that have just been, is actually betting against the teams to cover their handicaps, just because of the sort of the numbers that I ran for the past sort of 5 seasons in the Premier League in terms of teams that had gone off odds on around this time of year and their failure to cover handicaps. The strike rate was quite actually high. And I just think it's the fact that teams are running on empty, a lot of them, in terms of the fixture schedule and the fact they have to make changes here and there. They're maybe not going to be at their free-flowing best. So they do struggle when they're coming up against teams that perhaps haven't got the same relentless schedule, and it's starting to take its toll around this sort of game week in the build up to Christmas. That's obviously especially sort of relevant in the Premier League. Whether that's the same for sort of Bayern Munich and Barcelona, I'd probably say that probably isn't. But it is something which has been on my radar at this time of the season, is always to just look at back in the underdog, so to speak, on those handicaps, and sort of made it pay okay a week ago. But I got really stung by Man City against Sunderland when I was really hot on Sunderland on their Asian line, and I think City were the only team in the Premier League that weekend who went off odds on to cover their handicap. So I managed to lose on that game, which was very, very frustrating. But I do think that theory around this time of year about taking on the really short price favourites on their handicap lines, there is something in that based on the results, especially in the Premier League for the past 5 years. So it doesn't surprise me per se, but I suppose the ones that do surprise me are the Bayern and the Barcelona ones, because I don't think their schedules are nowhere near as hectic as the Premier League team. So yeah, it's always something. It doesn't really surprise me in the Premier League, but around Europe, must have been very frustrating for punters that were sort of steaming into Bayern and Barcelona, because you would expect them to be too good for all those opposition.
I think fatigue is becoming a factor. To be honest, I was more on the lookout for teams that have been playing on Thursday, rather than the Champions League sides that have generally got bigger squads. The Bayern result, what I will say there is the new manager for Mainz, immediate impact. I can't believe he had such an effect so quickly. They look so disciplined defensively. Yeah, they rode their luck. Of course, they rode their luck. Anyone who gets a point away at Bayern Munich is going to be a bit lucky, but fair play to them. As a +3 dog, that is some results. And, winter breaks are coming for a lot of these leagues. And I think there was a lot of surprises going on there. Just a couple of notable long odds winners. This was in the UFC. $250 was placed on Kennedy Nchenkwu versus Marcus Buchecha to end in a draw at 130 to 1. And that's netted that particular bet $32,500 from a $250 stake. That's incredible. $100 on Fernando Mendoza to win the Heisman Trophy. It's 70 to 1. Not sure when that bet was placed, but that's a great winner for someone. I can't believe that draw bet in the UFC, to be honest with you. But it just shows you, doesn't it? That's some winner.
That is. You read the price? You said the price was over 100 to 1 there for the draw.
130 to 1
yeah. So,
to be a draw.
I'm no expert in sort of the combat sports betting, but that does. Draws are rare, aren't they? But are they that rare? 135 to 1 in terms of maybe the obviously the guy backing it had some sort of in or sort of he thought the price was wrong. So fair play. I mean, that is incredible bet. It is
absolutely incredible. Please do hit the like button. We need the likes, as many as possible, please. And also, if you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing. We've got over 12,000 subscribers now on the channel. I would love to get to 13,000 as soon as possible. Anyway, bets for today. We are going to be covering several fixtures across the board. Just to mention some notable live streams today, by the way. Real Vallecano, Real Betis, Roma Como in Serie A, Sheffield Wednesday, Derby County from the Championship, 2 Primera Liga matches in Portugal. You can also watch Boulogne versus Troyes in French League 2. And, of course, the PDC Darts World Championship is streamed live on the Bet Rivers app. I was watching a match earlier. It was really good one. Cameron Menzies was punching the table when he lost against a young lad from Yorkshire, actually. It's a dramatic event. Is that?
Well, better than punching the board. Is that how Peter Manley back in the day used to take it out on the board, didn't he?
Colin Lloyd.
Was it Colin Lloyd?
Well, he drew blood. Do you remember that? He drew blood from his knuckles. Yeah. Wow.
I think he broke the board as well. I mean, that was absolute scenes. But yeah, we love the darts this time of year. Fully behind it. Are you with Littner or against Littner, Steve?
I wouldn't oppose him.
Wouldn't oppose him. No.
I agree. Nigel Seeley's been giving out some great winners, by the way, on the Advent calendar on the PDC Darts World Championship. But yeah. Anyway, that's for another day. Let's get on with some action today across the board. The headline match, of course, is Man United against Bournemouth. We'll be coming across that one soon. But we're going to start off actually with a match in Serie A. This is Roma against Como. Quite a fascinating fixture, really, because of Como have generally been excellent all season. But they were humbled last week against Inter. They got well beaten, and it was the first real body blow for them this year. Roma are the favourites, but they're plus money favourites, plus 116. They've generally not had a bad campaign, but they have lost both of their last 2 matches to nil, one goal to nil in Serie A. They're 4th in the table, and they've been a glutton for unders this season, actually, of AS Roma under their new manager. Incredibly, they are, I think, the only team apart from, them and Inter actually both had no draws in Serie A, which is remarkable. So if you were doing a martingale system on Roma draws, you'd be in trouble. Is that draw due this evening? I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's a really, really tough betting heat because I like Como as dogs. I actually quite like them coming off a big loss, 4-0 defeat. I think they'll be much better for it. But at the same time, I rate Roma as well. I always find these difficult spots where 2 teams are playing against each other who I quite rate, and there's no real obvious betting edge. For me, it's a no-bet game. So I don't know what people in chat think, but what do you do in this sort of situation when it's 2 teams that you quite like?
Well, we're going to come on to that later, actually, because that's exactly what's happening in La Liga with Vallecano and Betis, 2 teams I do like betting on when the time is right. And I would totally agree with you about how difficult this game is to call. I had a quick look at it earlier. No official play or leans from me. Look, the outright prices looked spot on to me. I said Roma have been the new manager Gasperini. He's been not as like gung ho or as crazy as I expected it to be under his watch. He's been a bit more measured, hasn't he, in terms of his approach, and it's working because they're winning a lot of games to nil. I mean, a big Celtic to nil. I think they beat Rangers to nil as well in Europe, and Udinese to nil earlier this season, and Sassuolo. So they're very going against the trend for Gasperini in terms of what he did at Atalanta, which has surprised me. I thought it was going to be good fun watching this Roma team, but it's been anything but much more measured, much more Italian, I would say, traditional Italian style football. And it should be a good game, this one. I mean, it's very difficult to call. As you say, 2 teams that probably could cancel each other out, Steve. But maybe it is the time for that first Roma draw of the season. I can certainly see why punters would be latching on to that because, I mean, it's a massive trend ender, wouldn't it? And they're not going to go a whole season without a draw. And in a really tight game like this, that's where I would probably be leaning is the draw, but just with no real conviction or confidence in that. But I think a draw is due at some point with Roma, just with the way that they're playing. Very tight games, aren't they? So a draw is probably due, and maybe it is tonight.
That's where I would go as well. If I had to, if I had a free $50 bet, I'd put it on the tie on the 3-way money line because it's due, and I think both teams might cancel each other out. There is 73% of the money on Roma and 75% of the tickets. And for those who are interested, there's a split with the over-under market. 77% of the tickets are on the over, but 61% of the money's on the under. So more money on that under for the game. And I think, you got under 2.5 goals is minus 165, which that just doesn't appeal enough to me. If it was minus 110, minus 120, yeah, of course, I'd be looking at getting involved, especially as I like the draw. But yeah, I'm not going to get involved in this game. I'm going to watch it and see. It'll be a good tactical battle. Como double chance, says a guy called A. Trowbridge says Roma are on my list. The good or bad list?
Naughty or nice list? That's the question, isn't it? The naughty
yeah, I
list,
think it's the naughty list because he's thinking a double chance on Como. Mates is going under 1.5 goals in this game. And, I don't blame him really either for that sort of thing. Byron's got a prop play for the game. This is what we need. Sule, shot on target, -122. There we go. That's the prop play for the game, isn't it? And he likes the draw as well for it. But good luck, whatever you are taking in this Serie A fixture. I don't think it's one to get heavily involved in. And remember, you can watch it live on the BetRivers app. So you can bet in play, see how it's going. Opportunities can always open up when that happens. There's a question here from Sean Coder, Lewis. And he says, he's got a £260 cash out available on Villa to win the league. He spent £40, but he could win 10,000 if that bet was to win. Would you cash out now?
No, you've got a dream, haven't you? You call for $40 or 40 quid. When the amount of excitement you're going to get out of this bet in terms of what's to come over the next few months, definitely don't cash out for that amount because you will kick yourself if the unthinkable happens, or even if they get on the coattails and stay there when it gets to February, March. Going to get a better cash out than that. Do not cash out yet. Live the dream. Betting's it's not just about taking. Sometimes it's not about getting the best financial decision. It's about getting the most enjoyment out of what's to come and having a bit of a dream. So don't cash out. You put the bet on in good faith, knowing that this is what you wanted to happen, and this is we place bets sometimes for the ride, for the enjoyment as well, and you've got to factor that into your thinking. I think in this occasion, no, let it ride, live the dream. Come on.
I think that's really well said, actually. Really well said, that, Lewis. I mean, Villa have won 10 games straight in all competitions, something like that, 9 maybe. They're in great form, and it's a bit like, do you remember that show over here, Deal or No Deal, where the banker comes in with offers? I think I'll be wanting a lot more of an offer there at this stage to be, cashing out. I think I'd want at least £1,000 there,
I think you've
even
got
to even consider it.
If the cash out is going to change your, month or year, then that's a personal decision. Then maybe you have to consider taking that money if it means a lot to you. But if it doesn't, and it's not going to change anything too drastically over the short term, I think you're going to get much more enjoyment and value out of following that bet long term than cashing out. So stay strong. Don't do it.
What I will say is, Lewis, I know there's a lot of people out there who've got quite a lot of tickets on Aston Villa. Some to win the Premier League, top 4, top 6. They were popular pre-season, and I think everyone had written them off after the first month and a half, and now suddenly everyone's getting really excited. Tickets.
Yeah, it's really interesting. One of my biggest anti-post play actually was back in Aston Villa's over points total, which came in at something. I can't remember what it was now. Maybe 49. No, it's 59, I think, or 58. The market they were really unfancied by the market because of the problems they had in the summer and the fact they hadn't really strengthened in the window, and there was lots of rumours about Martinez and obviously Rodgers, etc. So the bookies actually had a very negative view on Aston Villa's overall points tally. And this is Unai Emery we're talking about. This is a manager who's never, I don't think, in the last 11 seasons, he's finished in the top 6 or 7 of that league every single season. He's missed the consistency. So I was very, very worried after the first few games about how this Aston Villa over points total bet was going. But I mean, the last few weeks, it's been absolute magic to watch them just roll the wins and find their form as well. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying this Aston Villa run just for that bet, really, personally. But also, it's a great story, and it really adds a bit of intrigue to that title race, I think.
Sean Coder's got a double on them for the Europa and the League as well. So he's great all bet. In on Aston Villa here.
Great bet.
Mr. Gargoyle, 92. What would you guys recommend on how to become a professional bettor? Well, I'll tell you what. I think there's some shows on this channel that are worth watching for that, Mr. Gargoyle. The Dojo with Nigel Seeley and Neil Channing, and also my Betting Zoo series. So you get loads of sort of tidbits and information on there, really.
Yeah, go and watch the Will White one. If you're looking to get into the mind of a pro gambler and to see what life is really like behind the curtain, so to speak, I thought Will gave a brilliant interview, and it's a brilliant show you guys put together. So I'd go, after you've watched this show, I'd recommend going and watch the Will White Betting Zoo, because that was fascinating to hear a pro punter speak with such honesty and sort of lay it all on the line really and give you a real peek behind the curtain. So I'd go and recommend watching that because it was a fantastic production with a great host as well, I must say.
Oh, thank you, Lewis. Thank you very much. The whole series has been good, honestly. We had a great episode, me and you, and there will be hopefully a new release of the Betting Zoo before Christmas. There is hopefully going to be some recording done this Friday. But anyway, we move on to more bets for today. Let's start off with the daily double, the first leg of the daily double. We're actually going to go to La Liga here first. Rayo Vallecano against the Real Betis. This is a 3 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. A fascinating matchup here. Real Betis have been going great guns recently, involved in several exciting clashes. Rayo Vallecano winless in a while, plus 180, and the tie is at plus 230. The tie actually looks maybe a little bit big there for some. Over 2.5 goals at minus 108. And we've got both teams score, yes, at minus 141. I'll talk about corners soon here, and also match result. But the daily double is going to be from you today, Lewis, and let us know how you think this game is going to go.
Yeah, well, the selection is going to be both teams to score here. I do think it's a price that really needs a lot of respect. Just when looking at both of these teams, they're two teams who I like to back when the prices are right. I've got quite a lot of confidence in both these two when the time is right. I mean, Rayo Vallecano, spoken a lot about them on this show, and I'm assuming on your extra time show as well, about their home. Their home is a proper fortress, isn't it? The Stadio Vallecano. I mean, brilliant place to watch football. Proper intense atmosphere. They're really difficult for teams to go. They lost just one of their last 13 home matches, and that's including drawing against Real Madrid and Barcelona in that run. And they won the expected goals battle in both those games, and so that suggests they're creating a better quality of chances even against those types of teams. And if you even stretch it back further, 36 home games under this manager Inigo Perez, and the XG supremacy, really impressive numbers. It's plus 0.4 per 90 at home. So that's a metric when you minus expected goals against from expected goals for. So anything above 0 for that metric shows a real sign of a capable team with a really strong process. And when you're considering they're playing the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, certainly points to them having a huge advantage when they're playing at home, and one that perhaps isn't factored in to the markets. Every time I seem to have a look at Rayo Vallecano when they play at home, and I do back them quite a lot in their home matches, just because I always think the price is always just a little bit inflated, and we'd sort of they have drifted to that. I mean, what's that, plus 180 are we now? We're sort of heading towards a plus 200 mark here, potentially, to beat Betis at home. And obviously we can get, if you're looking at the handicaps, I mean, the Tino bet is going to be around even money here. Very tempting when you've got a team with such a strong home record. So if that gets a little bit bigger, Steve, that does head towards the plus 200 mark, and then those markets do come into my thinking here. But if you're flipping that, Betis are just one of these teams that I have watched a lot actually under Pellegrini over the years, and I just think they're such a dangerous team to bet against because they've got such ability in forward areas that can just take a game away from a team very, very quickly. And I watched the derby actually with Seville. Very tight game, but just two moments and then a sort of 15-minute spell after half-time where Betis really put their foot down and scored twice and just won the game 2-0. Anthony and the other winger, Azuli, as well, very high-quality players. And I do think Pellegrini gets the best out of them in this system, and they're a very dangerous team to bet against. So that just puts me off having a go at Vallecano here. But if that price does continue to drift towards plus 200, I would have to probably pull the trigger on them here, just because they've got such a strong process at home. And if you can get the Tino bet on your side around even money, I think that's probably quite a smart way to play it. But just when you throw Real Betis's hit rate for both teams to score here in a game where I think Vallecano will score anyway, I mean, I think this is the way to attack it. Minus 141 we've got for both teams to score here. 16 of their last 19 away games, Betis, have seen both teams to score. That's a hefty strike rate, and it goes alongside really with the way that Pellegrini wants to go about it. They do concede quite high quality chances as well. They don't concede many, but when they concede them, they are high in probability in terms of expected goals. And Vallecano do create lots of chances at home, based on their XG numbers. Plus, I mean, their expected goals per 90 is 1.68 this season across their last 12 home games. That goes across 2 seasons. Very consistent numbers. They do a very consistent team in terms of chance creation as well. I think they're going to get on the scoreline in this game. And when Betis are involved away from home, you have to think they're going to get involved in the scoreline as well. So instead of just looking at the money line and perhaps thinking that Vallecano are the bet here, which they might turn out to be if we get close to the kickoff, but just at the moment they're okay. But if they go towards plus 200, I do think I'd have to be getting involved in the even money for the Tino bet around that. But both teams to score here. I think it just wins, Steve, this one. -141 to start the daily double. Really like it. Two teams I like to back, as I said, when the prices are right. So let's just back them both to score.
Yeah, both teams to score. Yes, that's the first part of the daily double for you, Lewis. There's two bets I'm very interested in here, and the first one is obviously corners. I've banged on about Rayo corners all season. The line I'm going a bit more aggressive with the line today. I'm going with over 10.5 corners in this particular game, and that's at plus money. And the main reason for that is you've got plus 108, plus 105 for over 10.5 corners, minus 150 for over 9.5 corners. That's a big difference for the sake of one corner. So I've got to go with the plus money play there over 10.5 corners. The seasonal stats weigh in, also the way they play. And you mentioned that money line price on Rayo, and I'm going to nibble it. I'm straight on the money line plus 180. You could go Tino bet, but the Tino bet price is minus 106, and I think it's the sort of match I would rather have a smaller stake on, actually, on straight on the money line, because this sort of match Betis could win it. If Betis win it, we're not shocked, are we? And I just think they're overpriced here. Rayo Vallecano are the biggest underachieving side on the metrics for expected goals this season in the whole of La Liga. They should have scored nearly 10 goals more than they have. Interestingly, Athletic Club and then Real Madrid are actually in the top 3 for this underachievement as well. At some point, I am absolutely sure that Rayo Vallecano will turn that around. They've got the ability to turn that around on the field. It could come here. I rate them heavily. There's some team news to talk about for the game. Betis are missing 3 players to the African Cup of Nations, in all likelihood here. Amrabat, Bakambu doesn't play much, and El Azuli. They've got long-term injuries as well, the likes of Isco, of course. I don't think it'll upset them too much. They've got a big squad, and they've got enough ability. Anthony to score or assist, that's going to be popular if you put that up in chat as well. But yes, I think we're looking at goals, both teams to score. We're looking at corners. I would go the 1x. This stadium, like you said, is a real fortress, tight enclosed. Varacas. I think, I can't promise it, but I think our man in Madrid, Rory Barlow, may well have some Instagram content from the stadium tonight. He usually does. It's one of his favourite grounds, I think. So he often makes the trip out there. So plenty of betting options, Lewis. And hopefully, I've got a feeling we get the upset here. I think the dog wins.
Well, I'm very tempted to row in behind you, Steve. I mean, I just want to being a little bit greedy and wanted to hoping that the price might drift a bit more before kickoff. But I am with here in your case there, it does further enhance my view that Vallecano probably are once again being underrated by the market. So maybe if Vallecano win and both teams to score, that might be the perfect scenario here if we can get the daily double leg in and also the Vallecano part in as well. But I'm completely in agreement. I think Vallecano are overpriced, but I think for the daily double purposes, both teams to score, I just think that wins.
Yeah, that looks pretty solid. I know a lot of people are betting on the corners here from 8.5 up to 10.5. I'm not laddering this one. It's just one bet because I don't think it'll go mental for corners. Betis can be a bit weird. They do have players that cut inside a bit, which can sometimes reduce the way they get the corners. But Rayo, nothing will change with Rayo. With their approach, in terms of the betting splits for the game, 79% of the money is on Real Betis, 55% of the tickets on Rayo Vallecano, 93% of the money's on the over, and that doesn't surprise me. I think we can see. I think it will go over 2.5 goals as well, to be honest with you. It's going to be an exciting game, hopefully. And for those who've not seen Rayo, this would be a good chance for people to watch them. They are very good at home against big teams. They outplayed Barcelona this season. They should have beaten Real Madrid. This side raises it in these sort of contests. And they've got a manager who, if I had to put money on it, I would say, yes, he will be a Premier League manager in the next 3 or 4 years, maybe even before that. So That's the first part of your daily double. Both teams score yes in the Rayo game. We move on to the main event of the day at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United against Bournemouth. And Man United are at -129. They're the favourites here. The tie +325. Bournemouth +295. Who knows which version of Manchester United we will see, Lewis? I suppose the first port of call is team news, because we've got African nations players involved for both. What's the latest? Do we know who is and who isn't going to play?
It hasn't been confirmed yet. This is a very tricky situation for people like us who are previewing games before team news is out. But just from reading reports and speaking to a couple of people who are attending Old Trafford tonight in a journalistic capacity, they seem to think that Mazraoui won't play. He's off. But Mbeumo and Amid Diallo will be fine for this one, and then jet off tomorrow to the African Cup of Nations. That's the vibe at the moment. But I say that we haven't had any confirmation yet, and maybe the market will know before the masses do. So maybe keep an eye on those prices, because if Mbeumo and Diallo aren't playing, there's going to be a massive drift here on Manchester United. So I would look out for any sort of hints from the market that that's happened. No signers yet. But I think it's just going to be Mazraoui missing for this one, Steve. And it's I suppose that's a thing that we are going to have to factor in over the next few weeks, aren't we? About how teams are going to cope without some of their key players, especially Sunderland. I think Sunderland are really losing like 5 or 6 players, I think, to the AFCON, and heart of their team being ripped out. Really, the left backs going, Ronaldo, Sadiqi's going, so they're a team to sort of maybe fade over the next few weeks. And Manchester United probably will be a team as well. I don't need any second invitation to fade Manchester United when I can, and with them missing that right hand side, Mazraoui, Diallo, and Mbeumo, that would severely weaken them hugely over the next few weeks. I think they've been really good, those two, this season. Team news as always going to be important. Steve, how do you see the game going? I'm quite liking goals. Yourself?
Goals as well. I follow Bournemouth rules. Unders at home, overs away. It seems to work pretty well for the last 2 years now. And there's lots of different theories why that's the case. Probably the most likely explanation is I think they get more space on the road, to be honest with you, Lewis. There's something about that home pitch now, Dean's Court or whatever it's called these days, Vitality, where it seems that I think also teams give them more respect down there now than they used to. So I think Bournemouth away from home, they won this, was it 3-0 last season, where they really took it to Manchester United. And so I mean, as a main bet for the game, I would always be looking at over 3 Asian goals here, really. I'm on that. I do like that. I think we can get a bare minimum of 3 goals. And, Man United at -134. I can't bet on Man United money line now. I can't bet on their opponents either in that market. I just, no way. I have no idea which version of Man U is going to show up at all. So let's go to the second part of your daily double first. Here it is in this game. You like both teams to score as well.
Yeah, I mean, the market is expecting goals here, Stephen. And the line now, the Asian line, is at 3.25 for goals. So the market is expecting action, expecting goals, completely aligned with that. It's just unfortunate we can't get any sort of value on our side, really. I mean, the market is pretty tight, but I do think this both teams to score price is perfect to double up with Vallecano and the Betis game. I think that comes to a nice double to attack. And as you mentioned, the Bournemouth away games, I think your theory about backing goals in their away games is absolutely spot on. So I've got the numbers here, Steve. Their last 21 away games, average goals per game, 3.95 goals per game in their last 21. So this is a massive sample size, nearly 4 goals per game in Bournemouth away fixtures. And that's just pure Iraola football, isn't it? It's so much about his philosophy of how to play the game, and it just mirrors a sort of chunky goal return, doesn't it? And when you're looking at over 2.5 goals in those 21 games on the road, 19 times that's hit out of 21 over 2.5 in these away games. So you're absolutely onto something there, Steve, with Bournemouth away games. And if you flip the coin and look at Manchester United in terms of both teams to score and goal-heavy games, we've got a welcoming opponent here as well for Bournemouth. 12 of their last 15 games for Manchester United have seen both teams to score. Their games are averaging 3.2 goals per game this season. And when you're just looking at it tactically and wanting to add a little bit more substance to it, I just think they lack so much control in key areas of the pitch that their games can get very chaotic and go very wrong for Manchester United. very, very quickly. They can look in control at any point in the match, and all of a sudden there's a 10-minute spell where they lose it, they concede a goal, and the whole narrative on that performance just changed. I mean, if you look at the game against Wolves last week, they were so comfortable 1-0 up, creating chance after chance, looking like they could really put a score on Wolves in the first half. And then there was a little 10-minute period for half-time when they just went missing in midfield, and Wolves started to get a grip on the game, started to sustain some attacks, and bang, they got the equaliser, and it completely wobbled Manchester United. And they were fortunate that half-time came where they could go and regroup, and they managed to come out and play quite well in the second half. But I just don't think this is a team we can take seriously yet. They're just so wobbly in their performance levels, not even from game to game, but from sort of minute to minute in terms of 10-minute periods. They're not a team I want to trust yet. And even when you stretch the data back under Ruben Amorim, I mean, it's very sort of mid-table metrics. They're still a team that I think are priced up still too much on reputation and sort of money in the market that comes from like recreational money that supports them just because of the name Manchester United. People want to back them when they can, and they probably will tonight, and they're organically going to be too short tonight. But Bournemouth just not quite in the form at the moment where I can trust them to go there and perform to the levels that we know we can. So I'm just going to take that out of the equation and settle down. And I'm working tonight actually on the game for Sky on the Sky Sports app and the website. So I'll be there remotely covering the game, and I'll be hopefully bringing you some entertainment and lots of action, Steve. So yeah, hopefully we get both teams to score to land, and the daily double can go in.
Yeah, the official daily double, I'll put it on screen again there, is both teams to score in Man United versus Bournemouth and Rayo Vallecano against Real Betis in La Liga. That is plus 151 for the daily double, official daily double there. Hopefully that can cash. I'm going to go through a lot of comments here because I know it's an interesting game for people. Peter Jarkin says Man United money line of both teams to score. Chippy Chips agrees with you there. Bournemouth money line says Mr. Nice Guy. SF9er, Man United to win it all, he says. A guy called A is on Bournemouth money line though, and double chance for him. Mindy Prira, I'll come to your comment in a minute. McTrowbridge says, God forbid Manu gets the start. Peter makes a point. Bournemouth have been dreadful away from home. He's going for United. Bruno and Cunha shot, says Francis G. Will that bloke ever get his haircut, says Duncan Evans. Well, do you know what? There's a period coming up soon where I think Manu could win 5 straight games, actually.
Not without Ahmed or Mbeumo, though, Steve. Surely not.
Actually, yeah, good point.
No, you'll have to grow it further.
But I mean, they've got Wolves, Leeds, and Burnley in succession, and then Brighton in the FA Cup. That would be possible. Otherwise, we're looking into like February and March where they've got a decent run of games and they won't be involved in Europe. But yeah, I totally forgot about those. Mbeumo was a massive loss actually when he's out there in Africa. Humble Levadian says he prefers to do it live. Wait 30 minutes for no goals. The problem is, Humble Levadian, what if it's 2-2 by half an hour? Although he can still get on the overs. He can still get on the overs in running then, of course. Cooney had 9 shots against Wolves, says Peter Chalpins. I know, he never really quite looked like scoring, did he? I think he was a little bit... He didn't want to... It was a little bit awkward at his old club. Something wasn't quite right about Cunha that night.
Trying a bit too hard, probably. That's always the case, isn't it?
I think so.
When you see players who've got ridiculous shots numbers against a certain team, there's always... You have to factor in the thought process that he was just shooting on sight and wanted to make a mark when... Then it was a game like that anyway, where Man United was so comfortable for large periods, there was no real jeopardy in terms of him shooting. So, yeah, I think that explains that. I wouldn't say he'd be anywhere near repeating those numbers tonight, I would have thought.
We've got 91% of the money on Man United, 89% of the tickets, 80% of the money's on the over for the game as well. We'll talk about the Championship game soon, Mates, but you got a player prop bet for this game as well, Lewis. Yeah,
this is a bit of a gold mine in terms of positional change, Steve, for a player. So just in the props markets, when you play these types of bets, you're always looking for players that are switching positions because the data that prices up the probability just always lags behind this change. It used to lag behind for like 3 or 4 games a few years ago, but the markets are much smarter at adjusting now. Maybe only you have to sort of like get your feed very, very quickly these days, maybe 1 or 2 games. And we have a classic case here of a player moving from fullback and now playing further forward for Bournemouth in one of the positions that Areola wants them to attack in. So playing in the front four, he's a very attack-minded manager, Areola. So this player playing in the right wing, so to speak, is really, really appealing tonight, and his pricing is Alejandro Jimenez for Bournemouth, who is, as I say, normally a right back, but played against Chelsea on the right wing, played very well. Bournemouth got the draw, 0-0. It was a good stop the rot, so to speak. And I think Iraola will give him another chance to play in this position here. And his shot on target price tonight with Bet Rivers plus 500 for him to have a shot on target. So this is a player that should be playing in the front four for Bournemouth in a style of football that Iraola brings, which is very attack-minded. He is liable, I think, to be at least half that price, really, the true probability. So I think we've got a good bit of value on our side here. Didn't have a shot on target in that game against Chelsea, but he did have 2 shots, Steve, and had 3 touches in the opposition box. So he was getting in and around that areas where you expect players playing that position to get into. And Manchester United, I say, they're not great defensively. They do leave themselves quite open at the back. So he's potentially could get space in transition to work his magic. And shot on target plus 500 looks good to me. And these are the types of angles that I would encourage people that are looking to try and make a long-term profit from betting to really concentrate on these positional changes with a player in terms of their props market, because it is an absolute goldmine, Steve. So this is a classic case of this tonight. Jimenez shot on target plus 500.
Again, reference back to the Betting Zoo series with me and you. We talk about that. In fact, the stuff you actually mentioned, a Man United angle, funny enough, on that show, which came to fruition, didn't it?
Yes, Ahmed and Mbeumo linking up. Yeah, we've landed a couple of bets like that this season based on their link up, and that could be another one tonight. I mean, they're very, very, very dangerous down that side, Ahmed and Mbeumo. So if you find a price for one to assist the other, etc., they're very, very live, and they're always overpriced because they've got great chemistry, those two. So that's another angle to look out for if you can get on that type of market. But Bet Rivers offering plus 500 here for Jimenez shot on target. It's a no-brainer for me. That one. It's a brilliant bet. Yeah, brilliant bet.
Let's just go to Mindy Perez comment here. The Athletic reporting that Amorim might change to a 4-3-3 tonight.
I read that. Yeah.
I mean, look, you probably know more than me here, but I'll believe it when I see it. This guy has been religious with his formation since the Sporting days.
Yes.
So, but you never know, do you? There's no smoke without fire sometimes.
Yeah, no, I think there is probably legs in this story, I think. And I think it stems from the fact that they haven't got the back three that he wants to play that, because Maguire's still going to be out, De Ligt's still going to be out. So he's having to play this young guy, Heaven, in the back line. And I'm not sure he trusts him, so to speak. He's looked quite erratic at times, and I'm not sure he's really Premier League ready. And when Ahmed and Mbeumo do depart, and Mazraoui, he obviously thinks that this team can't play the 5-3-2 or the 3-4-3 that he's set his watch by for since his Sporting days. So I do think there is something in this, and I think he's just trying to find a different way to accommodate them missing key players like De Ligt, like Maguire, like Ahmed, like Mbeumo. And I think this is a good sign, I think, for Manchester United. If he is going to show a bit of flexibility in his approach, that bodes well, I think. So whether it happened tonight, I'm not sure. We'll have to have a look at when the teams are announced. But I would say there's definitely legs in that story. So I would look out for the team news, and he might just go with it tonight. So it'd be really interesting if he does.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Like I said, I'll believe it when I see it, but I think he does need to be more adaptable for me. Some of his press conferences, especially his after-match interviews and pre-game interviews, for me, they're baffling. He talks a lot of waffle, does Ruben Amorim, and he's a fascinating character.
Too honest for his own good would be my with my thoughts on that, but that's what's probably kept him in the job and kept the fans on side, that he is so honest, and he does wear his heart on his sleeve. I think fans do appreciate that. So he plays.
His heart's on his sleeve. Well. Yeah, there's that.
Yeah,
I think that's definitely a quality which you got to, it's quite admirable really at times there. McTrowbridge, it would be Alex Jimenez, I think, but why be plus 155? Bet Rivers are plus 410 here on Alejandro Jimenez now to have that shot on target. He's been backed in, but you can still get plus 410 here with Bet Rivers.
Yeah, obviously it's one of those where you need to wait for team news, but we're sort of trying to preempt that here. with the fact that Smith will play right back and Jimenez played really well against Chelsea. So I'm not sure why he would change it, and he'll play further forward. So obviously wait for team news, but I say anywhere around that sort of anything, I'd say north of plus 300 probably still is a bet, even at when the teams are released. That price will probably be still there. So I think it's a bet that's going to give us a good run, Steve.
McTrowbridge, can I get Bet Rivers here in the States? You certainly can, but it depends what state you live in. Whereabouts in the States are you living, McTrowbridge? We need to know that. Brad Betts Footy, good to see you. What's your take on the Man U game today? Who is your money on? Are you trusting Manchester United? Just looking through now. We'll crack on with a couple of games. More you got bets in Sheffield Wednesday derby. There's a few asking about this in the Championship today. Not often we get a Championship game the same night as a Premier League game on a Monday, I don't think, but here we are, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Derby minus money favourites away from home. Sheffield Wednesday, they're going to go down because of the points deduction, aren't they? But they did get a result against Watford, I think, recently, which might have surprised quite a few people. So a derby an absolute lock here at minus money or not, Lewis?
It's a good question. I mean, I seem to be very tempted to take on Sheffield Wednesday every time they play. I do think they're actually overrated by the market still, which is the weird thing to say considering they're rock bottom and likely and absolute certainties to go down. They haven't won in their last 13 games, Sheffield Wednesday, and no clean sheet in the last 21 home games. It's nearly a year now since they kept a clean sheet at home. So, yeah, is it quite intriguing that the market doesn't fade them as much as I think they should? Everything points to them being obviously the worst team in the league. And I think if you sort of correlated that to where they should be, I think there'd be a mid-table League One team, this team that they've got at the moment. So they are very tempted to take on every time they play. Derby, minus 107, did you say there, Steve? That's
minus money favourites here, Derby County.
It is a real tempter, just because you're looking at teams that have gone off, the prices that teams have gone off to win at Hillsborough this season. Preston went off plus money. They won. Sheffield United went off minus 110 in the derby. They won. Oxford went off plus 150. They won. Bristol City went off minus 110. They won. So certainly an argument here to suggest that derby should be perhaps a little bit shorter, and there is a good trend here for away teams going to Hillsborough and winning at prices that are very, very that are probably bigger than they should be. But I just don't like backing teams, mediocre teams away from home against anyone, when you've got a manager like John Eustace, who's a very negative, defensive-focused type of guy. He'll go there playing for a 1-0 win, and that's just very dangerous, I think, if you're just backing derby on the money line. And such a fine margin sport we're in, high variance. I don't think he'd be able to go there and play like that. So I'm just going to go back to the props market again here, Steve, and back Joe Ward, the derby right winger, at plus 550 for an assist. He's got 5 assists in his last 8 games, Steve, and we're getting plus 550 for him to get an assist in a game where Derby are odds on to win. So really like that price. Very good player on the right hand side for Derby. Got a lot of ability in his right foot, and he takes set pieces as well. And Sheffield Wednesday have struggled a lot from set pieces this season, so he'll be whipping in corners. He could get an assist via that route. He could get an assist via open play. I just think plus 550 for a player with that record 5 in 8 is just too big. So I'll be having a little bit of that tonight.
Yeah, great player prop angle there in this game for a man that's been on fire in the assist market. 92% of the money's on Derby for this game, by the way. 98% of the money's on the over. Remember, you can watch this match live on the BetRivers app or betrivers.com. And producer Troy, thanks very much for explaining where BetRivers are operating. And as McTrowbridge said, hop on that train, McTrowbridge, to get on that bet over in New York there. But 15 states BetRivers operates in, as far as I'm aware. It might be more now, but I think it's 15 the last time I checked. But there is a bonus bet here for us today. It's in the Scottish Premier League. We don't normally talk Scottish Premier League apart from on the dojo on this channel, but we do have a match. Rangers versus Hibs. Rangers at minus 130 here. Hibs at plus 320. I mean, goodness me, a great version of Rangers would be serious minus money. It kind of just shows the state of play there for Rangers these days, and maybe the improvement in Hibs. But you've got a player prop here as well, Lewis, to get stuck into. Yeah,
still not convinced about Danny Roll. Has got Rangers anywhere near where he wants them to be. I mean, really iffy results still. Drew at home to Falkirk, a drawn away at Dundee United. A loss to in midweek in the Europa League as well. It's not much signs of progression, I would argue. Conceded 1.3 expected goals per 90, which is mad for a club like Rangers in the Scottish League when they're just expected to dominate. But the times are changing up there, as the dojo are well aware of. And that story is certainly going to continue to be a very exciting one to follow. Their hearts bet over the course of the season. And Hibs are only 2 points behind Rangers in the league, so can't see them being too fearful about going to Ibrox at the moment. There's no fear factor at the moment about going to Ibrox. Very easy place to play. And I'm not going to get involved with Hibs on any sort of handicap or money line, even though people, I can see why they would, because I do think there's probably a little bit of juice there. But I'm just going to keep it simple and back their best striker to score a goal in the game, Steve. I think the price is too big here. Or Martin Boyle at plus 310 to score any time. He has hurt Rangers so many times in the past. He just loves playing against Rangers. He scored 8 goals in his last 8 starts against Rangers, and this included hitting a hat-trick at Ibrox 4 seasons ago in a League Cup match. So he always seems to thrive against this opposition. And I do like punting these angles when a player's confidence against a certain team can't be factored into the price. And I don't think that is here. I think he's going to be absolutely flying in terms of his approach, and confident that he can go there and do it again to Rangers. And yeah, I like his price here, plus 310. I think that's the Hibs angle to concentrate on is Boyle to score any time. And he's also the penalty taker, Steve. So we got that on our side, which is always a nice little bonus to have in a spot like this. So yeah, can probably see more struggles for Rangers in this game. So not much between them based on the metrics and the actual points taken this season. So why not back the guy that loves scoring against Rangers to score again?
Boyle to score any time for Hibs at Rangers. Their big price, plus 310. That concludes the soccer today. We've got Monday Night Football, of course, over in the States. Dolphins at the Steelers. You can watch Betting Weekly Live US edition at 4 p.m. Eastern, where Mike Carver and Doug Kazarian will cover this game in full. But I will give you some betting breakdowns, as I usually do for Monday Night Football here. 83% of the money's on the Steelers. On the money line, 79% of the tickets on the Steelers. And the Steelers also have more money on the spread, which is plus 3 and minus 3, of course. 62% of the money on the spread on the Steelers, with 67% of the tickets. And 76% of the money is on the under in this game, on the under points, under 42 points. But there is more tickets on the over. But the money is on the under, 76% of it there. As a Baltimore Ravens fan, I've got to cheer on the Miami Dolphins here. Whether they'll get the job done, I'm not very convinced. But hopefully the Dolphins can do as Ravens a favour. But do check out Mike and Doug later on Betting Weekly Live US edition. And Mike Carver is going to be the guest on the next Betting Zoo, by the way. If you've got any questions that you want me to ask Mike, then let me know. Get in touch on X, get in touch on this channel in the comments. But Lewis, it's been a great pleasure as always. What is your best bet today?
The best bet, I do like the daily double, Steve. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to put that up as my best bet, because I think those 2 angles are really nice ones to concentrate on. Can see goals in both games, and I do think there's a little bit of juice in both those prices for both teams to score. Yes, and it's a fun one to follow as well. You just want goals, you want action, you want all 4 teams to score, and I think they can at plus 151. So yeah, that'd be the daily double. We'll put that as the best bet. But I like a couple of the other angles that I've said there. The Ward assist for Derby, plus 550. Boyle to score any time for Rangers. They're both bets I will be backing tonight as well. So yeah, a couple of props to go at, and also this daily double at plus 151. I think it's got a great chance.
Yeah, I would say that's a great looking bet. I must say, I do like that daily double. For me, the best bet, I've got to go with the corners in Rayo. Of course, I've got to go with the corners in Rayo, haven't I? Over 10.5 corners, Rayo Vallecano versus Real Betis at plus money. But there's a lot of plays I like from the show today that you've given out here. Some great angles in chat as well. Thanks so much, everyone who joined live or on demand. Lots of you in today, which was great to see. And if you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. We'd appreciate that. And hit that like button. We need the likes. So do that. SF9 says Dolphins for plus money, ? A leans the Steelers as Miami don't travel well in cold places. I do think the Miami quarterback does not have a good record when the temperature's below a certain amount. I did read that somewhere. But yeah, do check out the live show later on with Doug and Mike. And tomorrow and on Wednesday, Dan Roebuck's going to be in the host chair. He's going to be alongside Simon Holden tomorrow and Nigel Seeley on Wednesday. On Thursday, me, James Eastham, are going to be breaking through all the Conference League games. The final round of the Conference League group stage is on, all 18 fixtures there. So I'll see you all later in the week. Enjoy yourselves, cash and winners. And Lewis, thanks so much as always, and good luck with all those plays today. Goodbye, everyone. Take care. Remember to gamble responsibly, and I'll see you around on Betting Weekly Live.